conversations with you, because your conversations are holistic. They are, they look at all the mental principles. So thank you for doing what you're doing. And thank you for asking this very, very important question. A lot of people think that leadership is about a position. A lot of people think that leaders are born. It is true that leaders are born, but not everyone becomes a great leader. Now, leaders have positions, but position does not make the leader. So yes, for you to be able to be effective as a leader, you need to be given responsibility. You need to be given tasks. You need to be given a role, right? Or you need to assume a role. You need to have a vision, a mission, a purpose, and that requires some level of positioning. But that positioning is not what makes you the leader. What makes you the leader is the function of the skills you have, the function of the knowledge you have, the function of the attitudes that you have, your beliefs, your values, your ethics, your character, your ability to lead people. Are you trustworthy? Are you making impact? Are you servicing humanity or servicing the organization that you're there to serve? Do you have empathy? Are you influential? Are you inspirational? Are you confident? And do you build confidence in your people? Do you add value? Are you an effective communicator, right? Are you, one that triggers what I call the toxic trial, that is of negativity, of fear, of intimidation, or manipulation? So a leader is not one that intimidates. It's not one that manipulates. It's not one that leads by the big stick of fear. A leader is one that inspires. And from what you see, you would see some phenomenal attributes. People gravitate to leaders. So if people are afraid of you and they run away from you, you're not a good leader.
So now you've given me the qualities for a good leader. You must have skills, you must have values, you must be an effective communicator and all of that. Is it also the same for political seats or those that have political positions? Would we have, okay, let me put it this way. Should we have the same leader as a business leader and as a political leader or whatever leader, or do we have common denominators among them?
All right. So, I thank you again for that. You see, leadership starts from self, starts from the individual. If you cannot lead yourself, if you cannot have a vision and a mission and a purpose for which you are living, and you cannot create the right culture and the right processes and the right beliefs and values around them and be known consistently, your core beliefs, your core values and ideologies, and you are held and you can be accountable and held responsible to that, then you are not yet a leader. Now, it's not, I said it's not about position. So if you cannot be a self-made leader, that is, you lead this 6 foot and you lead your family, you lead your organization or the people that work with you or the people that you influence, if you cannot lead them effectively, then you cannot lead an organization. You cannot lead a political, party. You cannot lead a nation. Look, they say that charity begins from home. Look, that quote is very, very apt for leadership. It starts from home. So what kind of father are you? What kind of mother are you? What kind of daughter are you? What kind of, son are you? What kind of sister are you? What kind of sister? It all begins from. And so if you cannot get it right from there, now a leader is someone that has been led. And a leader is someone that has followed a leader. And so you learn leadership from a role model. You learn leadership by being trained, by being coached. You learn leadership by modeling someone that is ahead of you. And so if you cannot lead yourself, then you cannot lead your family right. If you cannot lead your family right, you cannot lead society right. If you cannot lead your community right, then how can you lead a political group? And how can you lead a nation? And that's where we get it wrong in this country, right? We do not test the qualities of leaders that we put in office.
The next
How
question.
are they doing at home?
The next question now will be, is there a way for leaders to prepare for a crisis? Because in modern times, at least since I was born, and I've at least been doing this show for a very long time, I've not seen something like this that has happened in the magnitude of this crisis. Apart from like the 2008, 2009 financial crisis, it wasn't like this. This is a health and economic crisis, humanitarian crisis, development crisis, all the crises involved. So is there a way for leaders to prepare for this kind of eventuality without fear? For example, how do they prepare for this kind of uncertain times? It's hard to be a leader, and I think it's harder to be a leader in an uncertain time.
Wow, nobody could ever have predicted that this will happen. Look, the truth of the matter is the entire world has been shut down. Governments are struggling, economies globally are struggling, organizations are struggling, empires are rising and falling. Yeah, there's some people that are making money, there's some people that are prospering from, COVID-19. Macro, effect is phenomenal, even though at the micro level, some people are still benefiting. So nobody could predict what is happening. So it caught all of us unawares. However, right, how do you reposition? The first thing that you need to do is to do a reassessment. An internal environmental reassessment. Reassess yourself. The person that you were, the leader that you were before COVID-19 is different from the person and the leader that you are now. And will be different from the leader and the person that you'll be post-COVID-19, right? The environment that you will function in, that is that business environment, that political environment, that role that you play will be completely different. Why? Because the people that you'll be interacting and engaging with will have changed too. Everybody has been changed. We are now different people in a different environment. I mean, if you go, you social distance. People are weary of who is coming into the environment. People are afraid. People are, anxious. People are worried. People are stressed. It's a completely different dispensation, which requires that you are flexible in your thinking and you are flexible in your behavior. Now, you need to do that reassessment. When you do that reassessment, you need to now reevaluate what is your purpose, of leadership. What is your purpose of existence? What is the value that you're here to provide? What is the solution that you're here to be? What is the problem you're here to solve? You've got to do that assessment. And beyond just doing that self-reflection, you need to ask yourself, who needs the solution that you are here for? Who has a need that you're a solution to? Whose life do you want to impact through your products, your services, or your solutions? You have to do that assessment. And how would they be responding or reacting to your proposal? If you don't do that assessment and you go back into the market, you will find out that, man, you will fall. That means that you have to re-engage with your customer and your marketplace in conversations. You need to get feedback from them. How is this situation? How is this affecting them? How is COVID-19? How has it impacted them? What are their new needs and their new pain points and their new challenges?
Okay, Mr. Olusola, let me halt you a bit if you can hear me. Let's quickly go on a break. We are getting some kind of freezing from your end. So let's try to go on a break. Let's try and reconnect with you again and see if the network will be better. It's still part of what we're saying, the side effects of technology. Things are changing, so we need to also change with the times. So let's go on a break to try and reconnect with you. Please do stay with us.
The assessment that COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
The nature of this pandemic has very significant impact on public health. No one person, no one individual, no one company can basically rise up against this pandemic.
How quickly are we going to see businesses adapt?
All countries can still change the course of this pandemic.
We must interrogate ourselves after this and say, what lessons have we learned about our healthcare system?
The scale of this is huge.
So there are multiple dimensions of this problem,
that it requires bold and creative steps in order to resolve it. We need to have a homegrown solution.
This is Moneyline with Nancy, where we keep you up to speed with the economics of the pandemic. Join us on all our social media platforms. Get to interact.
I mean, like said initially, no one could have predicted this, and so it is very, very important as leaders for us to just reposition, to reassess the situation or the context that we find ourselves in. It is very, very important for you to reconsider your offering as a leader, or your products as a product supplier, or your service or your solutions as a solutions and service provider. Now, everybody is here for a purpose. Everybody is here for a reason, and the reason why we exist is the reason why we're leading. Okay, so ask yourself, who are you adding value to? Whose problem do you want to solve, or what need do you want to meet? Now, when you have that assessment, when you do that assessment, then you can now begin to reposition yourself and say, look, these people that I'm going to be solving their problems or meeting their needs, is it still the same way that I used to solve it before COVID-19? Or have they even changed? Have their needs even changed? Have their problems even changed? And so you need to change in your mind first. And then you can go out there and you can begin to recreate your products or your services. Now, as a leader, right, you need to ask yourself, are my people still the same, or have my people changed? Because COVID-19, right, as we see it now, is affecting several people. The person that you were before COVID-19 is different from the person that you are now. And then post-COVID-19, we don't know how we're going to be reacting. Nobody can predict to a T what will happen or how they will react. In a situation where you come out of war, there's something that in psychology that we call post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. We're fighting an invisible enemy. We're fighting a war, a psychological, emotional, and biological war. We do not know how we're going to react in 3 months. We do not know what's going to happen in 6 months in terms of behaviorally. How are we going to be responding? How are we going to be reacting? What are we going to be doing? And it is very, very important for us to do that assessment. And then for us to re-engage with the new marketplace. What does the market need? What do our customers need? What does the nation need? What do the people need? And then to reposition ourselves. And then it is based on the engagement and the feedback that you get. You need that flexibility. You need that dynamism for you to be really responsive. You cannot afford to just be reactive.
Okay,
I got to be responsive.
Yes.
Responsiveness requires for you to be able to anticipate.
Okay, Mr. Olusola, yes, let me just put in this question. And looking at economic sphere in Nigeria, we have like 41.6 million MSMEs in the country. 41.5 million of them are micro. Many of those businesses are sole entrepreneurs. They may employ 2-3 people. But that space controls about 96% of jobs and 84% of businesses. What kind of leadership would you expect in that process? Because some of those business leaders, however small they are, have been able to tell people, okay, because of COVID, I may not be able to pay you, or they forlorn their workers. What do you say to those kind of leaders?
I think the first thing to say to those leaders is we need you. We need you. We really need you. And the quality of your mindset and the quality of your emotional mastery will be dependent on the decisions and the actions and the outcomes that have happened in your life. Now, for the 1.5 million, imagine how many people they are employing. Let's even imagine that each person employs 2 people, right? That's 80 million people, right? Employed. 80 million people fend for at least two people, right? That's 160 million people. These are the people that are really, truly holding up the economy. Look, America is what it is today because of the quality of entrepreneurs and the amount of millionaires that are entrepreneurs. The economy is a function of the enterprise that goes on in America. China is even much better. Every corner you go to China is a factory. Every village, every house is a factory. And that's why China has that level of productivity. So we need you, we need you, we need you. Now, what do you need now? You need to go and develop yourselves. You need to go and redevelop yourselves. The skills that you had, the skills that you needed to survive before COVID-19 are completely different from the skills that you need now. Now it's about looking inwards. We have to realize, Nancy, that look, everybody is fending for themselves now as we speak. Everybody is fending for themselves, whether it's America, whether it's UK, whether it's France, whether it's China. Everybody is looking inwards to solve their own COVID-19 pandemic issues. And so, yes, there's some people that are trying to give us aid, right? But we also need to sit down and we also need to solve our own problems. So we need to sit down as Africans and Nigerians and say to ourselves, what are our critical problems? And we need to have innovative, authentic solutions to those problems. Now, this is how entrepreneurs are going to blow. This is how they're going to succeed. This is how they're going to go to the next level. We have to identify the most critical challenges and problems we have as a people. Is it power? Is it transportation? Is it internet? Is it data? Is it technology? What are the unique challenges we have? And we need to begin to solve those challenges. We need to ask ourselves, what are the resources we have? And we need to begin to create value. God has never come down, to create furniture. He gave you a tree. And so he requires that you look at that tree and ask yourself, what value can you bring out of a tree? And so he gave you metal. What value can you create from metal? As Nigerians, we need to begin to think about creating value and to create that value chain. And that's what the 41.5 million entrepreneurs that we have need. They need to begin to look inwards to create value and to create a value chain. So it's not just about, what we have crude oil. We export crude oil for that crude oil to be refined. We have to start produce here. We have to start to refine here. It's not just about the fact that we have cocoa and we export cocoa and then they send us back chocolates. We have to create, the value chain here. It's not just the fact that we have metal, right? We have to produce. We have to refine here. And so we have to look inwards. We have to create the value.
Okay.
And it is that value that we need to, provide.
Okay, let me ask you this question because we just have a few minutes. I need to take another segment, like in 2-3 minutes. Since we're talking of leadership, and I recall I asked you who a leader is, perhaps what a great leader could be, or who a great leader is, the qualities and all of that. In the midst of this pandemic, I've also realized, and I've also noticed, it's been globally acclaimed that the countries or nations that have handled this pandemic in a better way are female-led nations, are women-led countries. Countries like New Zealand, like I mentioned earlier, Jacinda Ardern, Finland's prime minister, who happens to be the youngest head of state when she was elected in, I think, in December last year, Sanna Marin, Norway's Erna Solberg, who also is there. I won't forget Germany's Angela Merkel. There's also the leader of Taiwan, Tsai Ing-wen. These are women leaders. And these are nations that have led the other countries ways we can emulate. I'm not saying that all women are good leaders or great leaders. Do you understand? But why, well, in the thought of that question, how can leaders now create a new and a better normal? I'm choosing my word, better normal. Because in Nigeria, we had a normal that was not good. For example, our economy wasn't growing well. So we shouldn't say we should recover to that point. We should be able to use this crisis to leapfrog. So taking these examples of countries that are doing well, managing this pandemic and all of that, can we have leaders, or how can we have leaders that will create a new and better normal?
Nancy, thank you very much. And that's why I really love having conversations with you, because you go there, right? Look, women are known to be nurturers. Women are known, to add value. Women are known to have empathy. Women are known to have sympathy. Women are known to serve. So you serve your children. That's how you are wired. And so, it is no surprise that the leader of a nation who is wired to serve, who is wired with empathy, who is wired with compassion, which is what is required now as a leader, right, of a nation, who is wired for service, to adding value, who is wired to nurture a new nature. So you're talking about a new good normal, right? A mother always wants the best for her children. Men, right, are seeing themselves as the mothers of the nation. And it is not about power. It is not about ego. It is not about name calling. It's about solving the problems. It's about identifying our unique weaknesses and our unique strengths and using it, right, to save the lives of the populace. Now, look, there's so much as case studies that we need to learn from these female leaders. Now, it is supposed to change how we see leadership, because we think that leadership is a masculine construct. It isn't. Leadership is a function of different skills and competencies. And these women naturally have these skills and competencies. And so those skills, competencies, and principles will deliver results. That's what's going on across the world. And so we need to use COVID-19 as a case study. It is not a gender thing. It is a competency, quality, and the fact that these guys are committed to the well-being of the people. It is not about re-election. It is not about power. It is not about money. It is not about position. They get it right because they are natural. And that's why we need to begin to have this conversation about inclusiveness.
Yeah.
Right? In at the top. We need to have women more involved because there's a balance. This world is about a balance. It can't just be about men. We don't know it all. We don't have it all. We can't do it all. We need to be supported by women. Look, the head without the neck is useless. Women are the neck. They are the real powerhouse. We need to collaborate with them. We need to empower them. We need to listen to them because they have value that they are providing. We have seen it.
Yes, just that's why I had to bring that up, because if we're talking about leadership, we should also look at models that are working, especially as we battle this pandemic. But I wish we could really go on, if not of those hiccups. I can have you on another day. We'll work out something so that we'll continue to talk about this leadership issue. But for those that have been watching us and they want to still be part of this conversation off TV, online, they can join you on your social media platforms. Just give it to them quickly so that they can quickly join you.
It's at Lanre Olusola, no H in the Olusola, Lanre Olusola, one word, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You'll be able to follow all the things that I've been talking about, emotional intelligence, and a lot of the things that we're talking about that people need in this season. Yes,
we really need it. Thank you very much, Coach, for speaking with us today. I look forward to another day with you. Yeah. Thank you.
I always look forward to talking to you.
Thank you for the compliments.
It's usually profound.
God
bless you.
Thank you. God bless you too.
Continue doing a great job.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
All right. Okay.
All right. That's the much we can take with Lanre Olusola. Like I said earlier, you can join him on all his social media.